Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Ryan Wolf. He's the Disability Ministry Pastor at First Christian Church in Canton. And just talking about that prom, that you yourself have probably gotten to know some very wonderful people through this ministry and through your work there over the last 5 years, which is amazing that most churches have not picked up on this at all, and yet First Christian has been doing it for 5 years. Tell us about some of the people that you work with.
Oh my goodness, it's hard to pick just a few. I mean, with over 200 guests at this prom, at our last prom that we did before this, we had like 350 guests. So it's hard to pick a few, but you hear from parents that basically say, my child never had an experience, didn't have an opportunity to even go to a prom, let alone be crowned the king or the queen of the prom. So yeah, you hear from parents all the time, just over the top thankful for allowing their child to have an experience, their adult child to have an experience, and to be involved in our ministries, and just before I came here, I got to teach our faith elective at our day program. Mm-hmm. So a couple times a week, I get to teach our faith elective because we're a faith-based program, and just to be able to sit with our friends and hear their prayer requests weekly, and just to hear what they have to praise God about, and it's just an awesome experience to be able to spend time with them, to get to know them beyond just the big events that we do, like the prom.
It just needs to be on our radar more, doesn't it? I'm thinking of Stevie Wonder at the Grammys, mm-hmm. and how he opened up the award, and it was all in Braille, and he was the one saying, "None of you can read this. I'm the only one that can read this." Yeah. And how he said, "Let's make this available everywhere." And it just, you can tell it's kind of touching my heart a little bit here.
Absolutely.
Of what you're doing. We just need to keep it on our radar more, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said earlier, the disability community is really a hidden community. In every community, people with disabilities are everywhere, and they should be included, because they're God's children, just like we're God's children. And when I look at scriptures, it says that God became one of us. It doesn't say God became one of us with an intelligence level of a certain number. God became one of us. God became. He came for all of us, not just people with typical intelligence that could maybe recite the good confession. So,
yes, and allowed himself to go through things he didn't have to allow himself to go through if he didn't want to have the full experience of humanness. Yeah. Pretty amazing. You've got more events coming up here. There's a respite event coming up April 8th. Let's get that on everybody's calendar. What's that about?
Yeah. Twice a year we do a respite event. So these respite events, our proms are for adults either 16 or 18 and up. Our respite events are basically from 18 down. So it's for families that have children with special needs or disabilities that need a night away. Mm-hmm. So basically, we, for 3 hours, twice a year, this next one you said is coming up April 8th, we'll take kids with disabilities and their typical siblings, because we want to give parents or single parents a break for 3 hours so they can do whatever they want. Brand new parents that have never taken advantage of our respite events, we give them gift cards and send them out to eat on us, so they can have a free night to do whatever they like. Some parents take that night to go shopping. We had one parent, this is just amazing, for 3 hours sat in her car in the parking lot. Wow. Because she hadn't experienced 3 hours of silence.
Because she could.
Because she couldn't. Yeah. And for her, that's what respite looks like. Mm-hmm. For other parents, like you said, it's a date night. For some parents, it's shopping. For some parents, it's going out to eat. But for 3 hours, we have the kids and their typical siblings, and we have the time of our lives.
Okay, I've got to say, what does that look like on your part? I mean, the parents are getting a little downtime, some earned downtime, but this is 3 hours of really up time
Yes.
on steroids for you all. What do you all do?
It's awesome, and they all look a little different. We always have pizza, and we always have some other foods to kick off the night. So everybody comes, they eat together, and then basically, depending on the theme, we'll do different things. So we brought in a magician once. We brought in a guy that had a bunch of reptiles. So kids can have some hands-on experiences. We always have games and activities for the kids to play. No kid goes home empty-handed. We always give away prizes on the evening. So one time we had, Build-A-Bear sponsored it, and we gave away like Build-A-Bears. And so, we always try to go above and beyond and try to bless the kids. We did a Lego themed one before, and we sent kids home with little baggies full of Lego shaped candies and different Legos, and all the kids got minifigures and different things like that. Each of the evenings end we show a short portion of a movie, because when you have about 3 hours of very up and excited time, we don't want to send the kids necessarily home all wound
souped
up. So we try to have some downtime on the last half an hour of the evening. So we'll put on a movie and try to get everybody calmed down a little bit.
That's kind of you.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of the parents again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you divide it up by age group? So different activities for different age groups?
We provide all the activities for all the age groups.
Okay.
But there are age groups. We have kids probably as young as one or so that'll come, and as old as 18.
Yeah.
So what makes it work is our volunteers for the evening. So if we take, say, 30 kids, we try to get 90 volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
So in most church activities, it's the opposite ratio. You think, well, I've got 3 kids, I better get 1 adult. On this, we take a different approach.
Yes.
We say we've got 1 kid, we want 3 volunteers. And for our volunteer base, our best volunteers are actually kids and teenagers.
Wow.
Because as part of that experience where we have 3-to-1 volunteer to child, we try to make sure we pair up somebody similar age to the child that's attending the event. So we try to build in a buddy of a similar age so they can have a friend. So many of our friends that come to these events don't have real meaningful relationships a lot of times, because it's hard for them sometimes to make friends, or they just don't have some of the same experiences. So we want to build into the events a chance for them to make friends of similar ages, because these are some of the same kids that they'll see at church on Sunday morning.
Right.
And so we want them to have a good experience, come on a Sunday morning and see a friend that they had got to hang out with during a respite event. So they'll have a typical peer or a buddy of similar age and an adult with them at all times.
Do you need help finding activities and entertainment? I'm thinking there might be somebody listening going, oh man, I know a great magician, something like that. How do they contact you?
Absolutely. They can contact me at First Christian Church. The church's phone number, 330-456-2600. And they can ask for Ryan Wolf. There are 3 different Pastor Ryans on staff, so it gets a little confusing. But they can ask for Ryan Wolf. They can email me at rwolfe, that's RWOLFE, at fcccanton.com. So if anybody's got great ideas or wants to be a part of one of our events coming up, Respite event, April 8th, like I said, we're always looking for volunteers to help make those evenings happen and make them special.
Ryan, what drew you to this particular ministry?
It was totally God. Not necessarily something that I didn't go to school for this. My undergraduate degrees in religion and Christian education, my master's degrees in counseling, and it's just God kind of drew me to this. It happened probably through a conversation. What kind of jump-started probably about 8 years ago was a conversation with a friend named Tom. He invited me to go coach in a Challenger Baseball League.
Oh,
and
yes. Wow.
I don't have kids in Challenger Baseball. And I initially told Tom, no, I don't have time for it. But thankfully, Tom called back and said, hey, have you given any more thought of coaching in Challenger Baseball? He says, I know you love sports. And he says, I know you love kids with special needs. And I said, okay, I'll only do it if my whole family can coach with me. And he said, that's all right. So my whole family and I started coaching. We coached on the Cardinals for a few years, and it was just a great experience. But it opened my eyes to this community that I didn't even realize was amongst us, and just God continued to open doors from there to the fact that we built a baseball field on our campus for Challenger baseball. We started having the proms. We opened our day program. God just opened doors that were things that I couldn't ignore.
Yeah. So part of disability ministry is sports. You do have a field there for Challenger Baseball as well? They've been here. It's an amazing program.
Yeah. Challenger Baseball is awesome. Bonnie did a great job in it. Terry's doing a great job leading Challenger Baseball now. We also are going to be hosting the Challenger Baseball State Tournament this summer.
Wow.
So all of Challenger Baseball in the state of Ohio will be in Canton this summer.
That's huge.
In late July, so that's going to be something to look forward to. We're excited to have that. But we have a baseball field on our campus where we allow Challenger Baseball to use rent-free, and we allow Stark Public Special Olympics to also use rent-free on our campus.
How has this impacted you?
Oh, it completely has changed my life and my outlook on ministry and everything. It's changed my family's life as well, because, like I mentioned, we weren't going to coach in Challenger Baseball unless we could all do it together, because families are so fragmented. We all go in so many different directions. So, but no, it's completely changed our lives. Where my wife and my kids both, volunteer at the respite events, and they volunteer in our disability ministry on Sundays. So they definitely grow up with a different outlook, my kids do, than I did, and I'm just so thankful that they're exposed to things that many people have no idea even exist.
You probably see a kindness in them that is not always instilled in children.
Oh, absolutely. And I had an experience this weekend where a mom that has a child in our Shine ministry asked me if my son was going to be volunteering. My son's 9, and because he was a buddy of one of the kids, and she said my son cried last week when your son wasn't volunteering. So just the impact that made on my 9-year-old, knowing that what he does, even as a 9-year-old, makes a difference.
It's got to make you so proud. Wow. Well, we could go on and on. Our time is up. Ryan Wolf, thank you so much. Thank you. Give us the website for First Christian, please.
Sure. It's FCC Canton. There's 3 C's in the middle there, .com.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for being with us on Our Community.